Okay, 1 year ago, I got probably one of the best birthday presents ever when CM Punk recaptured the WWE Championship. And now I sit before you, 33 years old, and on November 19th, 2012, CM Punk is still the WWE Champion for 365 days, one day beyond Hulk Hogan. Pretty sure this means by the time next week rolls around, he'll have surpassed Randy Savage. In a little over 2 weeks, he'll have surpassed John Cena. And he'll become the longest reigning champion in modern history. Once you get beyond John Cena, everyone else has, like 3-year title reigns, which you probably won't see. So, as you know, this is the fallout from Survivor Series. And I like that there were lots of pretty decent matches. Ryback took on Tensai, which was a pretty solid match. Decent back and forth. You can tell that Ryback repositioned Tensai's body differently. In the past, he's had problems shell-shocking people with the pear shape. That's where you kind of a larger abdominal region. But this time he found a way to get him up, put him down. It was good. It was nice. Ryback's promo, he still needs work in that area. The promo was decent, but you can tell that he really does need to figure out more of what he wants to say. The match between Kofi Kingston and Wade Barrett, I liked it. It was nice. Good back and forth. Good job making Kofi look good. Have Wade Barrett get the victory. Those two can feud for the IC title, and it gives Barrett something to do. And I'd be looking forward to it. Kaitlyn in her new ring attire. A buddy of mine who I watch wrestling with was like, it's kind of like Skank Thug. Yeah, that's her new attire. Took on Oksana. Now for Oksana's attire, I'm trying to figure out why there's a zipper in the front. Giant zipper in the back makes sense how you get into it. The zipper in the front seemed kind of weird. It was almost like it had like the mullet of zippers. Short in the front, long in the back. Their match was decent. I'm glad they gave Kaitlyn a different finisher beyond the reverse DDT. I do kind of like the Gutbuster. It's a nice move, it works well. It does seem kind of awkward on her. It makes sense that she has the build for a power wrestler. It just seemed kind of weird, but all in all, decent match. I say decent match. Antonio Cesaro took on Brodus Clay, much like the match they had in the past. He hit the very European uppercut and finished off the neutralizer. Looked good. Solid match. 2 out of 3 falls between Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio whoops on Randy's arm, gets a DQ. First fall, Randy. Hits a beautiful cross armbar. And next thing you know, it's 1-1. Their last pinfall was a beautiful back and forth. Del Rio went for the ADR. That's what I'm calling his version of the RKO. It got blocked. Orton hit his. Nice, solid, good back and forth action. Newly on his transition to face Miz, took on Otunga. And he sold for Otunga. He sold hard. He almost Zigglered for Otunga. That's how hard he was selling for him. Miz Prince had roll-ups for his offense, then hit the Skull Crushing finale. A decent match for Otunga. They continue the AJ, John Cena, Vicky Guerrero, Dolph Ziggler storyline. AJ came down in the ring, started jaw-jacking with Vicky. John comes down and they kind of make out. Ziggler attacks John from behind. As John is chasing Dolph Ziggler, he plants his foot awkwardly, and then he starts limping. So he might have a meniscus tear. Having had one of those in the past, those suck. If it is a meniscus tear, whenever you put your foot down and you start squeezing your, cartilage pads, it hurts. So think about having the problem where you try to plant your foot for any reason. Yeah, it makes everything sore. Then later, AJ confronts Dolph in the men's locker room, where the 3-man band were the only people in towels. made it kind of awkward. Dolph tears her in half verbally. I mean, this was probably one of the most brutal comments that a man has said to a woman since, I think it was Scott Steiner or Tess told Stacy Keibler to turn around because nobody wants to look at her face. And then AJ just went nuts on him. John Cena comes in to try to rescue. Dolph pretty much puts John Cena through the stalls. It's a good thing about most of the stalls are collapsible, but puts him through 2 of the stalls. And then who saves John Cena? Titus O'Neil, the Primetime Players. A fact that he brings up while he's doing commentary. Yes, the Primetime Players did commentary during a match between Team Hell No and Sin Stereo. And I will tell you this. Titus O'Neil is ridiculous on the stick. He is going back and forth with Lawler and with Cole the whole time. He even makes mention, he was like, you know, John Cena needs to give us some of that t-shirt and hat money. We saved his life. I was like, you know, Titus O'Neil is really solid. Back and forth. Whole time. You made mention to Tussin. And the whole time, Darren Young's not saying anything. He's kind of like the guy who's there. Titus O'Neil is even kind of ribbing, you know, Young to say something, to get involved. But they end up doing a run-in towards the end. They get pretty much kind of beaten down. So the match between Team Hell No and Sin Stereo ends in a no contest. Speaking of a no contest, the Great Khali took on Epico and Primo, while Hornswoggle made a motion to Rosa Mendez, but then squirted her in the face with his flower. I guess the only reason for having Hornswoggle on there is he is going to be in the WWE Soup presentation on Wednesday on E! Beyond that, it was kind of pointless to have him really do anything. And now we get to the massive celebration. CM Punk did not unveil the new title. Maybe he'll do that in 15 days when he surpasses John Cena. So it's still the spinner, which is currently stationary. Paul Heyman chided people earlier for there not being balloons, and there were not balloons. Instead, Ryback came down. Then he got attacked by the other NXT guys, you know, Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns. They then put him through a table again. CM Punk leaves the ring, lets the NXT guys get in there, and then stands over Ryback and says "best in the world" while doing the cocky pin. Different. I do like that there's a lot more focus on the wrestling, and only really the one big storyline going on that's not wrestling related. All in all, you know, a somewhat lackluster SmackDown, but a pretty solid follow-up for Raw.